In the face of abuse and neglect, especially at the hands of those they love, children need enough psychological distance from what is happening to avoid being overwhelmed and survive psychologically intact. Preserving some modicum of self-esteem, attachment to family, and hope for the future requires victims to disconnect from what has happened, doubt or disremember their experience, and disown the bad victim child to whom it happened as not me. By holding out some sense of themselves as good, disconnected from how they have been exploited, abused children capitalize on the human brain's innate capacity to split or compartmentalize. That good child might be precociously mature, sweet and helpful, perfectionistic, self-critical, or quiet and shy, but most importantly, he or she has a way to be acceptable and safer in an unsafe world. Splitting or fragmenting in this way is an ingenious and adaptive survival strategy, but one with a steep price. To ensure that the rejected not me child is kept out of the way, that is, out of consciousness, requires that, long after the traumatic events are over, individuals must continue to rely on dissociation, denial, and/or self-hatred for enforcing the disconnection. In the end, they have survived the failure of safety, the abuse and betrayal, at the cost of disowning their most vulnerable and most wounded selves. Aware that their self-presentation and ability to function is only one piece of who they really are, they now feel fraudulent. Struggling to stay away from the bad side and identifying with the good side, they have a felt sense of faking it, pretending, or being what others want them to be. For some, this conviction of fraudulence engenders resentment. For some, shame and self-doubt. For both groups, the legacy of the trauma remains alive rather than resolved. As children of abuse continue to grow through latency into adolescence and subsequently adulthood, this splitting of the self supports another important aspect of surviving trauma: mastering normal developmental tasks, such as learning in school, developing peer relationships, finding interests on which to focus and even enjoy. The good part of the child is free to develop normally, while that other part of the child bears the emotional and physical imprint of the past, scans for signs of danger, and braces for the next set of threats and abandonments.